Hello, good morning guys. Welcome back to our asynchronous modality of the SLM, Self-Learning Module in Mathematics 9. We are now in the fourth quarter of the school year, week 1, and we are using module number 1, entitled Principles of Trigonometry. For this module, for this video lesson, we are to achieve the following objectives. First is to illustrate the 6 trigonometric ratios. The following are sine function, cosine function, tangent, cotangent, secant, and cosecant function. And the second objective is to find the values of the trigonometric ratios of the special angles using algorithm method. And the second one is the calculator method. But the second method will be discussed in a separate video lesson. Okay? To start up with our first lesson, that is using the algorithm method in finding the trigonometric ratios of the special angles. So there are two special triangle, special right triangle, the 30, 16, 90 degree right triangle and the 45, 45 degree right triangle. So for us to have a short recap of the following lessons in quarter 3, we will try to re-examine your learning on the special right triangle theorems. Itong 30, 16, 90, 45, 45, 90 degree right triangle. Discuss on module number 7 of quarter 3 through a short activity on the next slide with the help of the concept that is shown below. So, recap tayo sa special right triangle theorems. The first is the 45, 45, 90 degree right triangle. You have the following parts. The legs are the same. Monang leg, and gihapon, since it is an isosceles right triangle. And the longest side is the hypotenuse, represented by n square root of 2. Why? Inana siya kay the legs are the same and so hypotenuse is defined as, iyang equation is leg times square root of 2, mo ng n square root of 2. And when we are to find the leg mismo, given the hypotenuse, leg is equal to hypotenuse divided by square root of 2. The second special right triangle theorem is the 30, 60, 90 degree right triangle, wherein the following parts are short leg represented by n. The hypotenuse is twice n because mo yung formula do. Hypotenuse is twice the short leg, munang 2n. While the long leg is n squared of 3. So din mo nagikan ng n. N is from the short leg. So therefore long leg is short leg times square root of 3 or n square root of 3. So nakinumdum na sa duha ka special right triangle theorems. We will make use of these theorems in determining our next topic for this video lesson. Okay, so we will have a short recap of the following two theorems. Let's do this. Example number 1. So we have 3 columns representing the missing values, the diagram and its parts, and a short explanation of its answer. So we'll find the value of x and y given the diagram on the middle part. We have 45, 45, 90 degree right triangle, wherein the given is only one side of the isosceles right triangle. So we'll find the value of x and the value of y, the hypotenuse. So how are we going to find the value of x and y? So x there is equal to 8y. The legs are congruent for a 45, 45, 90 degree right triangle. So therefore, isosceles right triangle meaning, so therefore if one side or if one leg is 8, so the other leg is also 8. How about the hypotenuse or the side y? Side y is 8 square root of 2y since hypotenuse is equal to the leg times square root of 2. So therefore, if our leg is 8, then our hypotenuse is 8 square root of 2. 8 times square root of 2 is still 8 square root of 2. Second example. Find the value of x and y given, using the 45, 90 degree right triangle, missing ang duha ka legs, x and y. And given is ang hypotenuse 16. So, we will look for the two legs, x and y. So, how are we going to solve for that? The answers are 8 square root of 2 and 8 square root of 2. Ang x ug ang y. The legs are congruent for a 45, 90 degree right triangle, and it is an isosceles for any isosceles right triangle. And by solving, you will do the following. Since given man ang hypotenuse, to look for x and y, the two congruent legs, leg is equal to the hypotenuse over square root of 2, wherein ang hypotenuse na to is 16. So therefore, leg is equal to 16 divided by square root of 2. Na dili man na ma-divide no ang rational over irrational. So therefore, we make use of the rationalization nga process by multiplying square root of 2 over square root of 2. Kung unsay ang denominator, mo say multiply sa numerator o denominator. That is what we call rationalization. So we have there 16 times square root of 2 is 16 square root of 2. Then square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4. Inside times inside is inside mo ng square root of 4. Then to simplify, leg is equal to 16 square root of 2 over 2. Nganong whole number 2 naman na siya. Kay ang square root sa 4 sa ibabaw is equal to 2. The square root of 4 is a perfect square, therefore the root of 4 is 2. Then 16 divided by 2 is 8. Ma-divide ang 16 of 2 because both of them are rational. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. Then copy square root of 2. So therefore, our legs x and y are 8 square root of 2. Why? The legs are congruent for a 45, 90 degree right triangle. How about the next examples? Sample number 3. The given are the following, number 3 and number 4. The diagram is there. Number 3, 30, 16, 90 degree right triangle, wherein side x is the short leg, side y is the long leg, and 20 centimeters is the hypotenuse. For number 4, the short leg is 6, the long leg is y, side y, the hypotenuse is side x. So we will find x and y for number 3 and number 4. So ang ikaduha ni siya nga special right triangle no. So applying the concept on the leg, the short leg, the long leg, and the hypotenuse of a 30, 60, 90 degree right triangle, to look for side x, which is the short leg. So x is 10 nga naman, since short leg is half the hypotenuse. So ang short leg katunga ra ni hypotenuse. So if si hypotenuse is 20, ang short leg is katunga ra. So that is 10 for a 30, 60, 90 degree right triangle. How about for the value of y? Our side y, or the long leg, is short leg times square root of 3. Long leg is equal to short leg times square root of 3. Where sa to solution, the short leg is 10. So therefore, the long leg is 10 square root of 3. So kung say short leg, measurement niya, times lang sa square root of 3. So mo ng 10 square root of 3. The fourth example, ang atong given is short leg. Ang missing, long leg, then hypotenuse. So pwede rin mag-solve ka, use first the long leg, then hypotenuse. Depende kung asa ka komportable. Since our given is the short leg, Okay, to continue, our short leg is measuring 6. So our hypotenuse is twice the short leg. So therefore, the value of x is 12 since the hypotenuse is twice the short leg of a 30, 60, 90 degree right triangle. While the value of y, or the long leg, is 6 square root of 3. Why? The long leg is equal to short leg, which is 6 times square root of 3. Munang 6 square root of 3. Okay, na nakasimple. Sorry for the disturbance a while ago. Okay, for the fifth example, the diagram is given for a 30, 60, 90 degree right triangle. The short leg is x, hypotenuse is y, then given long leg, which is 12. How do we solve for x and y? Or how do we solve for the short leg and the hypotenuse given the long leg? Nag-una na ang answer. Our answer for short leg is 4 square root of 3. Diyon sa siya pag-solve, sir. So, by solving, long leg is it is given that long leg is equal to short leg times square root of 3. Knowing that long leg is 12. So, how do we solve for the short leg x? So, if long leg is equal to short leg times square root of 3, so, ato i-plug in ang iyang given. Long leg is 12. So, 12 is equal to short leg, which is x. Or pwede ka po short leg niya, square root of 3. Nga na, huwag tang to, sir, ang circle. Understood mo siya nga, nagtapad gani, product. So, multiply, no? Short leg times square root of 3 na siya ang pagsabot. Next, to look for short leg or the value of x, we divide both sides by square root of 3. Pagtangon ni sa square root of 3 nga tapad ni short leg. So, dapat mabilin short leg na lang. So, divide square root of 3. Ang pikas po 12 divided square root of 3. So, manang 12 over square root of 3 is equal to short leg square root of 3 divided by square root of 3. So, makancel si square root of 3. Mabili na lang si short leg on the right side. So, therefore, short leg is equal to 12 over square root of 3. Nya, sir, nalagi multiply lagi square root of 3 over square root of 3. Kung saan na siya, sir? Okay. If you remember, we cannot divide a rational number over an irrational number. So, therefore, we rationalize. So, by rationalizing, we multiply the same denominator up and down. One ang square root of 3 over square root of 3. So, multiply ta. 12 times square root of 3 over square root of 3 times square root of 3. So, therefore, short leg is equal to rational 12 times irrational square root of 3, magtapad ra 12 square root of 3. Dili may tabuha nga 12 times square root of 3 mahimong 36. Dili na pwede. So tapad ra ang 12 o ang square root of 3. While the denominator square root of 3 times square root of 3 kibawta that is square root of 9 kay 3 times 3 9. Inside times inside is inside. So square root of 9. So pila may square root sa 9, sir? Since 9 is a perfect square, the root of 9 is 3. Mo nang whole number 3. Dili na makita ang square root of 9. It is hidden. Then, to simplify further, tibaw man ta nga ang 12 o ang 3 are both rational number. Pwede siya ma-divide. So, 12 divided by 3 is 4. Copy square root of 3. And that will be the measurement of our short leg. So, one ang solution that x is equal to 4 square root of 3. Our short leg. To look for the hypotenuse is y equal to 8 square root of 3. Why? The hypotenuse is twice the short leg. So, if our short leg is 4 square root of 3, times 2 na lang siya. So, 8 square root of 3. Di siya may tabuhan nga 8 square root of 9. Kaya dili na siya 4 square root of 3 times 4 square root of 3. Ang short leg is times 2 ra para makuha ang hypotenuse, which is y. So 2 times 4, which is 8, na copy square root of 3. Dili po di mo i-multiply sa nimo ang square root of 3 sa 2. Nga mahimong 6 dili. Only ang 4 ra ang i-multiply sa 2. Okay? So, sa short activity na to, in finding the values of the missing side of a right triangle, whether it is a 45-45 90-degree right triangle or a 30-60 90-degree right triangle, whether gipangita ang iyahang short leg, long leg, or the hypotenuse, or the legs of an isosceles right triangle. Given the following example as a recap, how was it answering the activity? Na nakasubay, na-refresh ba ang inyong mind regarding the solution presented? Were you able to get the same answer as provided on the screen? Were the solutions able to guide you in recalling the past lesson on special right triangle theorems? Or do you have any way of solving the missing values in the given problem on screen? So, if you were able to get it right, I guess you have perfectly understood the lesson on module number 7 sa quarter 3 prior ani nga video lesson. So, based on the activity, how will you answer the following questions? Number 1, how can you relate the concept on special right triangles in identifying the 6 trigonometric ratios? Wala na sa dilain. Second, how useful are the sides of the right triangle and its reference angle in coming up with the 6 trigonometric ratios? So, naay reference angle. Kikibawon ta sa mga sides no, na short leg, na long leg, and the hypotenuse. So, napay upat na property, reference angle. So, asam ng reference angle. So, possibly, ang katong 45-45 or ang 30 or ang 60. Okay? So, what should we know about trigonometric ratios? So, we have 6 trigonometric ratios based on the properties of a right triangle, ang short leg, ang long leg, o ang hypotenuse. Given the right triangle on the left side, ang iyang diagram, this one, this is the diagram of a right triangle of a 30-60-90 degree, or not necessarily 30-60-90 degree, no, pero more or less ay ang dagway mo maura. We have here the short leg, kanang nagbarog. Anya kanang naghigda is the long leg. Ang naghandag ang hypotenuse. Ang long leg was renamed as adjacent side. Ano kung gitaw siya adjacent side, sir? While the short leg is the opposite side. Okay, ano opposite side siya, sir? Here. We have another property na introduce sa right triangle. Ang symbol nga theta, kanang puti, kita mo ani, this one. The theta symbol is representing the reference angle. So, reference angle, so siya ang basihanan. So, if that would be our reference angle, so the side opposite the reference angle is the opposite side. Mo ni siya. Or, sa figure pa ni siya sa previous nga module, this is the short leg or the opposite side. The side opposite the reference angle is the opposite side. So, ang side tapad sa reference angle is ang adjacent side. Opposite and ang pikas leg, adjacent side. Well, the longest side is what we call the hypotenuse. So, in a right triangle, there are 6 trigonometric ratios that can be derived using the 3 sides of a right triangle, namely the opposite side, the adjacent side, and the hypotenuse, including the reference angle theta. So, what are the 6 trigonometric ratios? O, ginganlan siya og first, the sine function. The sine function is equivalent to the opposite side over the hypotenuse. Sine function is representing the variable y. Y. Kung mubalik ta sa, what I call this, Cartesian plane, katong x and y coordinate, okay, the x-axis is the adjacent side. The y-axis is the opposite side. The sine function is equivalent to the opposite over the hypotenuse. So, Sine is y manino. So ang kanang gabarog. This one. So the sine function is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. Ito na lang sundon. Then followed by the cosine function. Cosine is representing the coordinate x. If ang y sine function is the y coordinate, ang iyang x coordinate is the cosine function. Wherein ang cosine function is equivalent to the adjacent, the x side. Ganina, sine function, y side. Cosine is x or the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. Ang kaning sine o cosine function has its, what I call this, iyang twin, pero reverse, inverse function niya, which are the following. Cosecant. So ang atbang sa sine function is ang cosecant function, which is hypotenuse over the opposite side. Ang katbang sa cosine function is ang secant function. Atbang niya is equivalent to hypotenuse over adjacent. So kabantay mo, ang atbang sa sine function, cosecant. Ang atbang sa cosine function, secant function. Another trigonometric ratio is the tangent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So opposite side over adjacent side, or y over x. While ang atbang sa tangent function is the cotangent function. So ang bali sa opposite over adjacent, adjacent over opposite. So therefore this is x over y. So something pa-mention ni mo sir nga y over x, x over y. Okay, this one. Ang pag-represent sa sine function on the other version, sine is equal to y over r. Sab ng y, opposite this one. The y-axis over radius mo ng y over r. The cosine function is equivalent to x over r. X is the adjacent side, the x-axis, x over radius. Next, the tangent function. Tangent function is y over x, or the opposite over the adjacent. Ang opposite is represented by y. The adjacent side is represented by the x. X-axis, y-axis. Then the cotangent function. Reverse, x over y. Adjacent over opposite. Next one is the secant function. Secant is reverse siya sa sine function mo ng radius, hypotenuse, over x, which is the adjacent. Okay, kani. Second is hypotenuse over adjacent mo ng r over x, radius over x. Lastly, cosecant, CSC, iyang shortcut is radius over y, or hypotenuse over opposite side. So mao ni siya ang unom ka trigonometric ratios nga atong hinumduman. We will make use of the following ratios sa pag-solve using given the special right triangle. Okay, let's continue. We will have first the first example of the 45, 45, 90 degree right triangle. We have the following diagram and parts. So 45, 45. 45 degrees is our reference angle. Then side x and 6. Nakiba mo tanong nga, ang isosceles triangle has the same legs, and we are looking for the other leg and the hypotenuse y. So we will find x and y. So side x is equal to 6. Since legs of a 45, 45, 90 degree right triangle are the same. To solve for y, that is 6 square root of 2. Multi-purpose sa atong recap ganina. So our hypotenuse is 6 square root of 2 nga no? Since hypotenuse is leg times square root of 2. So our leg is 6 man. So therefore hypotenuse is 6 square root of 2. Solved na. Next is to get the value of the 6 trigonometric ratios of this given special triangle, ang 45, 45, 90 degree right triangle. And we will use the given ratios stated on slide number 6 katong ganina. So, to solve for the sine function, sine theta, our theta is 45 degrees, no? So, ignore lang ha, kay theta ra kung gibutan. Sine 45 degrees is opposite over hypotenuse. Our reference angle is 45. So, opposite over hypotenuse. So, x over y. Our x is 6 nga naman. By solution, no? X is equal to 6 because the legs are the same. So, therefore, 6 over hypotenuse, which is 6 squared of 2. Na-solve naman nato ang iyahang leg o ang hypotenuse, di ba? This is 6 and this is 6 squared of 2. Mo nang 6 over 6 squared of 2. So, do not wonder. Okay. 6 divided by 6 squared of 2, makancel man yung 6 og 6, di ba? This is understood cancellation. And that is equivalent to 1. 6 divided by 6 is 1. Ang 1 makita dapat sa numerator. Manang 1 over square root of 2. Nya ang 1 divided by square root of 2, dili na pwede. Why? We must undergo rationalization. Mo nang 1 over square root of 2 gi-multiply sa square root of 2 over square root of 2. So 1 times square root of 2 is square root of 2. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4. Then balik ta sa numerator. Square root of 2, copy. Dili mo na mausab na, di ba? It cannot be simplified, no? Further. So that is square root of 2. While the denominator, square root of 4, pila man square root of 4, which is 2. So that will serve as our final answer. Square root of 2 over 2. Ang value sa sine of 45 degrees given the following sides. Next is cosine. Cosine theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. So atong adjacent is 6 ang gyapon, atong hypotenuse 6 square root of 2. Mo nang 6 over 6 square root of 2. Same ra gyapon ang solution. 1 over square root of 2 nga naman 6 divided by 6 is 1 divided by square root of 2. Then rationalize times square root of 2 over square root of 2. So the final answer would be the same, square root of 2 over 2. While the tangent function, tangent theta or tangent of 45 degrees, opposite over adjacent, where itong opposite side is x over adjacent side 6. So this is 6 over 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. What the answer? Ang value sa tangent function. Then, okay, to continue. Cotangent function. Cotangent function is adjacent x-axis over opposite kaning gabaro y-axis. So 6 over 6 gapon, which is equivalent to 1. Followed by second function. Second theta is hypotenuse over adjacent. So ang sa hypotenuse 6 square root of 2 over adjacent 6. Mo nang 6 square root of 2 divided by 6, makancel ang 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. Or simply square root of 2. Iba mo nga 1 square root of 2 na, no? Or simply square root of 2. Lastly, cosecant or CSC. Hypotenuse y over opposite x. So y is 6 square root of 2 over x, which is 6. So 6 square root of 2 divided by 6. So cancel ang 6, mabilin ang square root of 2. So these are the following answers. Ang sine function is square root of 2 over 2. Ang cosine function is square root of 2 over 2. Tangent and cotangent are both 1. Secant o cosecant are both square root of 2. Depende ni siya sa given ha, o depende po sa special angle given. Okay. Second example. Okay, our second example is we're still using the special right triangle ng 45, 45, 90 degree right triangle, wherein the legs are already missing, x and y. The given is the hypotenuse 12. So diagram and parts, and the missing values are x and y. So To solve for x and y, the answers are 6 squared of 2 or 6 squared of 2 for both x and y. They should be the same because this is isosceles right triangle. How do we solve for x and y? Yun saan siya pag-solve. Since legs are the same for a 45, 45, 90 degree right triangle, by solving for the two legs, we use the following. Leg of a 45, 45, 90 degree right triangle is equivalent to the hypotenuse 12 divided by square root of 2. Wherein leg is equal to the hypotenuse 12 divided by square root of 2. Nga dili mo takbamta nga ang 12, ang rational 12 dili ma-divide sa irrational square root of 2. Mo nang rationalize ta. Times square root of 2 over square root of 2. 12 times square root of 2 is 12 square root of 2. Magtapad ra. Dili na siya 24 ha. While the denominator square root of 2 times square root of 2 is equivalent to square root of 4. Then ang numerator, copy gihapon, 12 square root of 2. It cannot be changed nor can be multiplied. Okay? Irrational ang square root of 2 while ang 12 is rational. While the denominator square root of 4 can be simplified. Why? Square root of 4 is equal to 2. Nga naman, perfect square meaning 4, di ba? The root of 4 is 2. Nya, ma-simplify further pag gina because 12 ma-divide sa 2. So 12 divided by 2 is 6 square root of 2, which is representing our two legs. Mo na ang answer din sa x o y kay puro 6 square root of 2. Given the hypotenuse, which is 12. So next step is to look for the values of the sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, secant, and cosecant of this right triangle. So for the sine function, sine theta is opposite x over hypotenuse 12. So ang atong x kay 6 square root of 2. Unang 6 square root of 2 divided by hypotenuse, which is 12. So ang pag-simplify, ang 6 of 12 ma-reduce. Pila man na? Pila man divisibility sa 6 of 12? 6. So, pila ka 6 sa 6? 1. Pila ka 6 sa 12? 2. So, imaginary 1. Sir, mangutan na. Asa ang 1, sir? Yung kag 1. Okay. Since our numerical coefficient outside sa square root of 2 is 1, mahog siya imaginary ra, no? So, pwede ra swatan mo 1 or pwede ka pag walay 1. Understood ba na siya nga kung walay numerical coefficient gawas sa radical symbol, understood na siya nga iyahang number kay 1. Or simply square root of 2 over 2. Cosine function. Cosine function is equal to adjacent y over hypotenuse 12. Ang y nato kay 6 square root of 2 gihapon. So 6 square root of 2 over hypotenuse 12. So same gihapon siya sa sine function. Gi-reduce ang 6 of 12 mo ng 1/2 or simply square root of 2 over 2. Tangent function. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Ang opposite sa reference angle ng 45 is x over adjacent y. So opposite over adjacent, so ang x over y, puro sila 6 square root of 2 over 6 square root of 2. Sakto ba? So since pareha man ang numerator denominator, therefore it is equivalent to 1. While cotangent function, the cotangent is adjacent y over opposite x. So y over x. So 6 square root of 2 over 6 square root of 2. Kaya parehan mo kapon silang values, di ba? Ang x and y. So still, cotangent is 1. So nakabantay mo, ang sine o ang cosine pareha silang result. Ang tangent o cotangent pareha po silang result. But sometimes, ang sine o ang cosine dili na sa magkapareha. Labi na kung ang atong special right triangle gamiton kay ang 30, 60, 90 degree right triangle. Kani siya 45, 45, 90 man siya. So more or less pareha ra ang sine o cosine, tangent cotangent, secant o cosecant. Later we will realize sa atong mga next example. Cotangent function is adjacent over opposite. Sa adjacent, ang kaning side y over opposite side x. So y over x. Still tong given 6 square root of 2 over 6 square root of 2, which is equivalent to 1. Well, the second function is hypotenuse 12 over adjacent y. Ang y na to kay 6 square root of 2. So therefore 12 over 6 square root of 2. Then ma-divide man no, 12 divided by 6 is 2. Dapat ang 2 isuot sa numerator kay whole number. Dapat whole number man siya. Kung whole number siya, isuot siya sa numerator. Then ang denominator na bilhin kay square root of 2. Kay bawta nga ang rational number 2 dili ma-divide sa irrational number na square root of 2. So we rationalize mo nang gi-multiply ang kanang circle nga black, that means multiplication. Nga rationalize, multiply na to square root of 2 over square root of 2. So to rationalization, kung unsa ang denominator, mo i-multiply sa numerator o denominator. Mo na parehas ang square root of 2 over square root of 2. Next, 2 times square root of 2 is 2 square root of 2. Di na siya 4 ha. Okay, rational 2 times irrational square root of 2 is 2 square root of 2. Denominator, square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4. Kaya bago kita na. But the square root of 4, ako na itong ang solution nga square root of 4 left behind. Gikuha din ako dito ang square root sa 4, which is 2 ang denominator. Ang answer is 2. I-shortcut lang ko ni. So, to simplify further, the final answer is square root of 2. Why? Kaya ang 2 ug ang 2 sa gawas makancel. That is equivalent to 1. 1 square root of 2 or simply square root of 2. Then lastly, cosecant. Parehara po nas answer. Why? Cosecant is hypotenuse 12 over opposite which is x. Nga atong x kay 6 square root of 2 man. So mao ra gihapon 12 divided by 6 square root of 2. Same ang solution sa second function. So 12 divided by 6 is 2 over square root of 2. Rationalize times square root of 2 over square root of 2. So 2 square root of 2. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4. Ang square root of 4 kay 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. So our answer is square root of 2 or 1 square root of 2. So kabantay mo, ang sine ug ang cosine pareha answer, ang tangent ug cotangent pareho og answer. Ang secant o cosecant, same pod sila og answer. So that ends with the two examples of a 45-45 90-degree right triangle given the legs and the hypotenuse. Okay, so inanaot pag-solve sa 6 trigonometric ratios given the values or the sides of a 45-45 90-degree right triangle. The next two examples will be represented by the second special right triangle. Arita sa ikaduha nga special right triangle. Ang 30, 60, 90 degree right triangle. Pero ato makita sa diagram is ang 30 degrees. Why? Ang 30 degrees mao ang atong reference angle which is the theta. Ibawta nga ang ibabaw nga angle is 60 degrees. Ang kaning right angle is 90 degree. Okay. We will find the value of x and y. X is the short leg, y is the long leg, while 20 is the hypotenuse. To find the value of x, which is the short leg, our x is the short leg. So x is 10. Why? Since short leg is half of the hypotenuse for a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle, right triangle. So if our hypotenuse is 20, our short leg should be half of 20, so that is 10. While the long leg is 10 square root of 3. Kaya na-solve na nato ang short leg which is 10, so therefore long leg is 10 square root of 3. Nga naman, si reason, long leg is equal to short leg times square root of 3. So kung atong short leg is 10, ang atong long leg 10 square root of 3. And to get the values, sakto no? Kaya atong short leg is 10 man. So ang atong long leg, taparan ra og square root of 3 ang 10. 1 ang 10, square root of 3 ang long leg. To get the value of the 6 trigonometric ratios of this given special triangle, na 30, 60, 90 degree right triangle, we will use the given ratios stated on slide number 6. So same. O kani, ang sine, cosine, posible nga maglahi na sila og answers. Ang tangent o cotangent, posible pareha. Ang secant o cosecant, posible nga dili na magka-pareha. Okay. The sine function of this reference angle 30 degrees is equivalent to opposite over hypotenuse. Ang opposite is x over hypotenuse 20. Where natong opposite side is 10 over hypotenuse 20. Reduce ang 10 over 20, which is 1/2. To solve for the cosine function, cosine of 30 degrees, ang theta nato or ang angle nato is 30 degrees. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Ang atong adjacent is y over ang atong hypotenuse kay 20. Ang atong y by solution is 10 squared of 3. So munang 10 squared of 3 over hypotenuse 20. Then reduce ang 10 og 20. Pila may divisibility sa 10 og 20? That should be 10. So pila ka 10 sa 10? 1. Pila ka 10 sa 20? 2. So since 1 man ang numerical coefficient gawas sa square root of 3, understood nga pwede ra dili isuot ang 1. Ka imaginary 1 man siya. So square root of 3 over 2 or 1/2 of square root of 3 ang answer, ang pagbasa gyud. Next is tangent function. Tangent theta is opposite over adjacent. Tangent of 30 degrees is opposite x over y. So atong opposite is 10, atong adjacent is 10 squared of 3. So makancel ang 10 of 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1. Yung denominator kay square root of 3. Then rationalize. Kaya about once ang denominator is an irrational, automatic mag-rationalize. We will multiply the same denominator up and down sa rationalization process. 1 ang square root of 3 over square root of 3. 1 times square root of 3 is square root of 3. Square root of 3 times square root of 3, square root of 9. O dinhi ako nang ipakita ha ang pag-multiply sa square root of 3 ug ang square root of 3, which is square root of 9. Then, ang numerator square root of 3, dili mausab. Munang we rewrite. Atong isot og balik ang square root of 3. While the square root of 9 is equivalent to 3. Why? 9 is a perfect square. The root of 9 is 3. Cotangent function. Cotangent theta or cotangent of 30 degrees is equivalent to adjacent y over opposite x. Ang atong y kay 10 square root of 3. Okay, 10 square root of 3. Atong opposite side is 10. X is 10 over 10. So 10 square root of 3 over 10. So kabantay mo, ang cotangent, ang iyang values balira sa tangent. Okay, ana siya ka-amazing. So 10 divided by 10 is cancelled no 1. And ang square root of 3 kay naa siya sa numerator. So it should be whole number. Okay. So therefore, ma-cancel ang 10 ug ang 10. Ang nabilin, square root of 3 na lang. Next, secant function. The secant of the angle 30 degrees is equivalent to the given hypotenuse, which is 20, divided by the adjacent side y, which is 10 square root of 3. Mo ang given, hypotenuse is 20, while the adjacent side is 10 square root of 3. So ang 20 og 10 ma-divide, 20 divided by 10 is 2. Ang denominator na bilhin kay square root of 3. As usual, kung ang denominator kay radical or irrational, we will rationalize. We will multiply the same radical up and down. So square root of 3 over square root of 3. Then multiply numerators. 2 times square root of 3 is 2 square root of 3. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 is square root of 9. Then the numerator will not be changed. We will copy. Di na mausab. 2 square root of 3 gihapon ang numerator. While the denominator, square root of 9, is equivalent to 3. Why? 9 is a perfect square. The root of 9 is 3. Question. Sir, dili po di makancel ang 3 ug 3. O, saan mapag-cancel? Nga ang 3 is naman siya sa gawas. Ang 3 sa ibabaw kay nasa sulod. Kasi pasabot anong gawas ug sulod? Kung ang number naa sa sulod, that means irrational. Kung ang number naa sa gawas, that means rational. So, dili na makancel ha ang 3 ug 3. Neither ang 2 ug 3 because there is no common ang kanang 2 ug 3 puro rational. So it's supposed to be sila ang pwede ma-reduce, but there is no common number between 2 and 3 man. So therefore, it will stay as it is. So ang value sa second of 30 degrees sa kaninga given is 2 squared of 3 over 3. Okay, nasabtan? Solving for the cosecant function. The cosecant of 30 degrees is equivalent to the hypotenuse over the opposite side. So 20 over x. Hypotenuse is 20 while our value of x is 10. So 20 over 10. So 20 divided by 10 is 2. So you see, as what I have said, sa katong first examples nato sa 45, 90 degree right triangle, ang sine o cosine parehag answer. Ang tangent o cotangent parehag answer. Ang second o cosecant parehag answer. Pero when it comes to the second special right triangle nga 30, 60, 90 degree right triangle, dili na ang dakong chances nga dili na magkapariha ang ilahang mga answers. So you see, ang sine o cosine lahi slag answer. Ang tangent o ang cotangent lahi slag answer. Ang second o cosecant lahi pud sila og mga answers. Okay, nasabtan ra. The last example for this 30, 60, 90 degree right triangle given the diagram. Our reference angle is 30 degrees. The opposite side is x. The adjacent side is 12. Sorry, kuha na ko ipanuwati og mga opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse, but on the module itself makita nato no ang iyahang label. Nga kanang x is the opposite side, ang 12 kay ang adjacent side, while y is the hypotenuse. So we will find the value of x and y. Pangitao na to ang short leg o ang hypotenuse of this 30, 60, 90 degree right triangle. So to solve first is the value of x. Since given man ang long leg, so to find the short leg, gamito na to ang formula sa long leg. So giyon sa ni pagkuha ang 4 square root of 3. To solve for the short leg, which is x, it is given that long leg is equal to short leg times square root of 3, wherein ang long leg nato is given 12, whereas short leg is missing, which is x, then square root of 3. Kay short leg times square root of 3 man, so x square root of 3. Ang x nagrepresent sa short leg, then tapad square root of 3. So yung ano na ay denominator nga square root of 3. So atong question, sa atong gipangita una ang short leg, which is represented by x. So to look for the value of x, we need to eliminate ang square root of 3 tapad niya. So muna i-divide square root of 3 and divide square root of 3 on the other side. So makancel na ning square root of 3 up and down, mabili na lang si x, which is representing short leg. So x therefore is equal to 12 divided by square root of 3. Na dili man ma-divide ang 12 o ang square root of 3, we need to rationalize. Once ang denominator ganito is an irrational or radical, we will multiply the same radical up and down. Manang square root of 3 over square root of 3. Saan siya nga process? Rationalization ang process, or rationalizing the denominator. Kaya itong denominator, square root of 3. Next step is to multiply. Get the product of the numerators and the product of the denominators. 12 times square root of 3 is 12 square root of 3. Dili siya may tabo nga 36 ha. Kaya dili pwede ma-multiply ang 12 ug ang 3. Why? 12 is rational, 3 is irrational. Muna magtapad na sila. The denominators, square root of 3 times square root of 3, kibawta square root of 9. Ang square root sa 9 kay 3. Okay, the root of 9 is 3. 9 is a perfect square. The root is 3. That is equivalent to x. To simplify further, nganong 4 square root of 3, nga naman, kay ang 12 sa gawas ma-divide sa 3 nga naa sa denominator. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. Then copy square root of 3. Whole number. Kaya mas dako man ang number sa numerator kumpara sa denominator. So munang 4 square root of 3 ang value sa short leg, which is represented by x. Question, sir, unsa pagpangita sa y, which is the hypotenuse? Y is simply 8 square root of 3. Y, since hypotenuse is twice the short leg. So if our short leg is 4 square root of 3, to find y, times 2 ra ang x. Or times 2 ra ang short leg. So if our short leg is 4 square root of 3 times 2, 8 square root of 3. Okay? So with this example, if our long leg is 12, our short leg is 4 square root of 3, our hypotenuse is 8 square root of 3. Twice naman ang gidakon sa short leg para makuha ang hypotenuse. So to solve for the 6 trigonometric ratios, we'll start with the sine function. Given that the short leg is 4 square root of 3, long leg is 12, hypotenuse is 8 square root of 3. Sine function is opposite over hypotenuse. Pila tong opposite? 4 square root of 3. Hypotenuse, 8 square root of 3. So, manang 4 square root of 3 over 8 square root of 3. Makancel ang 2 ka square root of 3. Okay. The same makancel. So, mabilin 4 over 8. So, what is 4 over 8? Equivalent to 1/2. When reduced, we need to reduce our answer in the simplest form. Kaya nga 1/2 na siya, kaya ang iyahang common number, divisibility niya kay 4. Pila ka 4 sa 4? 1. Pila ka 4 sa 8? 2. Manang 1/2. Cosine function. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent is 12. Kani, long leg. Adjacent side. Over hypotenuse, 8 square root of 3. So, 12 divided by 8 square root of 3. Ang 12 ug ang 8 ma-reduce, no? Pila divisibility sa 12 ug 8? 4. So, pila ka 4 sa 12? 3. Pila ka 4 sa 8? 2. Munang 3 over 2 square root of 3. Dili. Pwede mawag ang square root of 3 kay tapad man gina siya. Next. Napay radical sa denominator. Kay bago kita nga ang 3 dili ma-divide sa 2 square root of 3. So, to eliminate square root of 3, we will rationalize by multiplying square root of 3 over square root of 3. So, numerator times numerator is 3 square root of 3. Dili na siya 9 ha. Magtapad na ng 3 o square root of 3. While the denominators, 2 square root of 3 times square root of 3, 2 times pre-number gawas of 3. 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 is square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3. Munang parenthesis 3. Ako na siya gidritso. Supposed to be na siya 2 square root of 9 ang denominator. But, ako lang itago. Gikuha na ako dito sa ang square sa 9 which is 3. Which is put inside 8 parentheses. That means, nakuha na siya, na extracted. So, the numerator will stay the same, 3 square root of 3, while the denominator changes. 2 times 3 is 6. Next, mas-simplify further pag yun. Why? Ang 3 nga nasa gawas, nga nasa numerator, ma-reduce sa 6 nga nasa denominator. Sa common nila, number. Sa 3 o 6, which is 3. Pila ka 3 sa 3? 1 ang numerator. Pila ka 3 sa 6? 2 sa denominator. Nya, since 1 man ang numerator, understood nga imaginary, no? So, pwede rin isuwat ang square root of 3 na lang over denominator 2. Kaya bauta nga, walay number sa gawas, no? Understood na siya nga 1. Or 1 square root of 3 over 2, or simply square root of 3 over 2. Tangent function. Tangent function is opposite x over adjacent 12. Pilang x gani? 4 square root of 3. 4 square root of 3 divided by 12. Saan mo na siya pag-reduce? Ma-reduce ang 4 of 12. Ayan, divisibility kay 4. Pila ka 4 sa 4? 1. Pila ka 4 sa 12? 3. And again, imaginary 1. Square root of 3 over 3. O, dili na siya mo. Ma-simplify ka. Ang denominator na to is whole number naman. Rational. Cotangent is adjacent over opposite. 12 over x. Or 12 over 4 square root of 3. Kaya ang ito ang x kay 4 square root of 3 man, di ba? So, 12 divided by 4 is 3. Ma-divide. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Whole number. Dapat na siya sa numerator. So, nabilin sa denominator kay square root of 3. Then, para mahimo niya siyang rational ang denominator nga square root of 3, Again, we rationalize. We multiply square root of 3 over square root of 3. Numerator, i-multiply 3 times square root of 3 is 3 square root of 3. Magtapad lagi na. Again, dili na siya pwede mahimong 9. Ang denominator, square root of 3 times square root of 3 is square root of 9. Yang square root sa 9 kay 3. So, behind to siyang solution, ang square root of 9. Kaya bako ang square root sa 9 kay 3 yun. Why? Perfect square man ang 9. Next, to simplify further, makancel ang 3 sa taas o 3 sa ubos. Puro man sila mga numbers sa gawas. Cancel. 1 na siya. Understood? Wagtang. Nabili na lang is ang numerator nga square root of 3. Wala na siya denominator. Understood naman kung obira ni mong 1, pwede ra gyud dili. Understood nga, wala siya denominator. Next is second function. The second function is hypotenuse y over adjacent 12. Y is given by solution 8 square root of 3 over adjacent 12. Ang 8 ug ang 12 ma-reduce. Pila may common number between 8 and 12? Iyang divisibility. 4. So pila ka 4 sa 8? Duha. Pila ka 4 sa 12? Tulo. Denominator. Munang 2 over 3. Nya copy square root of 3. Ma-divide ba ang 3 ug 3, sir? Dili. Ang 3 nasa sulod, kanina sa ibabaw. Ang 3 sa denominator, wala siya sa sulod, nasa sa gawas. So, di na pwede makancel ha. Neither ang 2 ug ang 3, though they are both rational but wa sila common nga number nga makapa-divide nila. So, therefore, our answer is 2 square root of 3 over 3. Lastly, cosecant function. Cosecant is hypotenuse y over opposite x. Y over x. Ang atong y kay 8 square root of 3 over x which is 4 square root of 3. So makancel ang duha ka square root of 3 automatic. Unya ma-divide ang 8 of 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So you see, lahi-lahi og answer ang sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, secant o cosecant sa 30, 60, 90 degree right triangle. Okay? So nakita nimo ang kalainan sa mga values sa 6 trigonometric functions given a special right triangle nga 45, 45, 90 degree o ang special right triangle nga 30, 60, 90 degree. You see? Okay. So, are the examples clear enough to illustrate the 6 trigonometric ratios of the special right triangle na 30, 60, 90 o 45, 45, 90 degree right triangles? If there are no questions, okay, kung naglibog o pwede ra i-backward ang video lesson, fast forward, backward, fast forward until nga masatisfy sa inyong questions. If maglibog ng yun, pwede ra gyud i-PM to Messenger or sa group chat. So if there are no questions, you can now answer the next activity. So for your activity, found on page 8 of module number 1, you will answer items number 1, 2, 3, and 4. You will show your complete solutions, same sa pagka-present sa kaningang video lesson o sa module. So, inatuon na gid siya. Manamon lang dyan, analyze sa gid ang step-by-step solution. So, thanks again for listening. Hope this have helped you in understanding this module. Ang lesson 2 sa kaning module number 1 will be discussed on a separate video lesson using calculator. Okay? So, this is your teacher Ian. So, for your queries, violent reactions, any comments, you can message me on my messenger or sa group chat nato. Once again, have a nice day and thank you everyone.